Raven, could you tell us about what good you hope to do in the world?
I am really passionate about mental illness and mental health oppression and negative mental health stigma is what I'm really passionate about right now. So the dissertation that I'm working on is related to emotions and how rather than thinking about our emotions as like a negative byproduct of our own humanity, like what if we're made in the image and likeness of God, and that includes our emotions? So what if our emotions are actually a part of our divinity? So I'm looking at the power and potential of anger and how anger can be not only healthy and healing, but also holy. And how are we called to be angry? And what are we called to do with our anger? By looking at the sacred stories of like Christ and the Hindu goddess Kali, just kind of learning from sacred stories about more about anger and what we can do with our own anger. I know growing up, I thought anger was, always violent and volatile. And that was my experience with anger. And then when I started feeling it, I didn't know what to do with it. And I didn't really understand it. Some people even said that my anger was negative or demonic. And I just really want to break some of the stigma about emotions as negative. So I know that's the healing I need myself. So that's kind of what I hope to bring to the people I work with in pastoral counseling settings and chaplaincy.
How does your faith intersect with other topics in the world?
Yeah, so yes, I'm really passionate about faith and culture, and so I am very, very passionate about my own sort of Irish, Scottish descendancy, and how I can look at those ethnicities and the cultural like paganism and shamanism, and how I can incorporate like the faith of my ancestors in my own experience with religion today, and that my faith practices can go beyond what is traditional Christianity and incorporate some of the shamanistic principles of Druidry, for example. So just really, really passionate about multiple expressions of faith, and being able to practice our faith in many ways and not have to fit a certain box and be confined to certain like rules and expectations about what faith and faith practices should be. Just that all of us are allowed to honor our ancestors, whatever the way that might look, and honor the traditions that we come from. So.
Raven, could you tell us about a faith leader or a theologian or a spiritual leader or an event or a movement or a moment that really fuels your passion for service?
Yeah, so back in Phoenix in 2009, I met John Dorhauer, who is the United Church of Christ General Minister and President right now. And like I gave him such a hard time. I was like mocking him and joking with him and cussing a lot, and he just loved me anyways. I gave him such a hard time about at the time he was the conference minister, and so my attitude, I was joking with him, like assuming that he thought he was superior because of his title and position, and that is not at all how he portrayed himself. He's very humble, and so what he taught me is this leadership from alongside and with, rather than leadership from above. And just really journeyed with me. And from the very beginning, he's like, you have so much to teach me, and I want to learn from you, and I want to, learn what faith is to you, and learn what church is to you, and just journey alongside of you. And he's very vulnerable as well. Like he's willing to be vulnerable. And I always assumed that was something you needed to hide or pretend like you didn't have in order to be a good leader. But him sharing that vulnerability with me really helped me think about how there can be strength in my vulnerability, and there can be sacredness in the sharing of my vulnerability. So yeah, I love John Dorhauer. I nicknamed him Mr. High and Holy, and then he became the general minister and president, and so I started calling him Mr. Higher and Holier. But he's totally humble, and I just adore having him in my life. I kind of look at him like a father figure that I never really had, and I just love his style of leadership. So, and it kind of spoiled me because I think all pastors should be that way, the sharing of vulnerability. And so when I don't get that, I'm kind of disappointed, but I definitely modeled my own pastoral presence after John, or try to. So, yeah.